Everything just went silent.
Yeah, that's what happens when WWE fucks up. But I'm not sure. I don't think that they're doing that with Rock and Cody and Ramen.
I don't know.
How do you feel
There's
about it,
still
man? Because
there's there's
this
still
I
so
don't know.
much.
Just
How do I feel about what?
well, how do you feel about this whole thing? Since like just that I don't know sounds very kind of discouraging. And
Well, yeah, well, like, because it just doesn't make sense. And like, I mean, everyone just everyone goes to it's best for business. Like for business purposes, no, they've already sold the tickets. They've already made money. People are still gonna watch. People are still gonna go. Just because CM Punk isn't gonna be there, Brock Lesnar's not gonna be there. Okay, then all you have to do is change what Rollins is doing. We don't even know what Rollins is capable of right now. That's still just words of, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to be there. Okay, but you don't know what's gonna happen to him afterwards. Like, are they looking for Rollins to get an extended period of time off? I would imagine so. Um, but like that's all you had to do. Then Cody won Royal Rumble. Not only did he win it, but he won it for the second year in a row. And he pointed to Roman Reigns after he won the Royal Rumble. He said at the press conference after Royal Rumble, you know, pretty much going for Roman. You know where this is going. And then coming out on Monday, Rollins brings up this whole, um, and I can understand that because still Cody still has to like, but he made a blatant decision at Royal Rumble what he was planning on doing. Rollins, for whatever reason, came out and wanted to like justify his side of the company's top title, like balance beam, I would say, kind of thing, of where like he wants to, sell himself and his title as being the best title in the business. And that's just like, no, you and Cody haven't been, Cody had shown no interest in your title for the last year that they've been away from each other. He's shown no interest of trying to get to that title, even though he's been on Raw this entire time after they've had that 3 match, 4 match feud. And
which he
then they
won
go to
all of them.
SmackDown. Right, exactly. And it's like, why do we want to, like, we don't want to see that again. If we see that again, then it's like, well, Cody has to win, but we don't want him to win. Yeah. But then, like, the whole Drew McIntyre getting involved. Okay, cool. Like, that's good. It, Drew McIntyre getting involved kept Cody from talking, so he didn't say anything Monday night about anything. So still, you know, everyone, focuses on Reigns, and then Cody shows up on SmackDown, comes out, says, I'm coming after you. I'm going to take everything from you, but not at WrestleMania. And then they're like, what? Like what? What? Like, why? Why? And then he says, I don't know, whatever he says, and then The Rock comes out. And it was just a really weird, I don't know, it was just, Cody just looked like a little bitch. Like, he just, like, he won, he lost all, he lost his manhood, man. Like, you just gave up your spot. One that you blatantly said that you were going to do 6 days, well, not, like, yeah, 6 days prior. And now you're just giving all that up to The Rock. Which, yes, it's The Rock. But the way that Cody looked, the way, like, I mean, he's a very emotional guy, anyways, and he wears his emotion on his, like, face really well a lot of the time. Like, he's always, like, on the verge of crying. It seems when he gets into his promos and stuff, he looked like he was about to cry. Like, you could tell that he did not want what was happening to be happening. But then it did. And Cody and Roman and The Rock faced off. Now, I will say this: Roman and The Rock. Yes, I do want to see that. Would I like to have seen it last year? Sure. I don't remember what. I know it was a possibility last year. I don't really remember my point of view on it then, because I don't really remember what was going on. Um, but even last year, it was still Cody and Reigns at Mania. Um, then you're doing this, and it's like, I've always been Roman, Rock, after Cody and Reigns. Not this night. And it's like, they could have done it 2 years ago. They could have done it last year if they didn't want to, and then extend Cody into this, because I think that's what it was. I would have been okay if they didn't do Cody and Roman last year, because he was still coming off of that injury, and he had just returned at that Royal Rumble, and after missing what 6-7 months or whatever. So I didn't even want. I was okay with Cody not winning, or even not necessarily having that match, and extending it to this year. Build Cody back up. Roman and The Rock, yes, but this is not the time, and it was not the time. It was just really weird, like, with everything going on. The Rock getting on the board of TKO, all this stuff coming out, um, with Vince and all that, and, like, there's just a lot of stuff going on that they're just trying to. You don't know what they're doing, if they're trying to just get as much hype onto other things to mask things, or they're like, people are saying that The Rock, like, he himself had this thought in his head prior to the Royal, like, early in January, but no one else did. Like, Cody didn't know. Um, they wanted to do this. He kind of, like, almost like forced his hand, like, went behind Triple H's back, went right to Ari Emanuel and all them, and there's just a lot of stuff that ended up coming out as decent. Like, it wasn't, like, pretty fair, good sourced news. Um, yeah, but then the fans, like, they reacted to this, and I was in the minority, like, especially the people that I'm close to, and talk about wrestling, I was in the minority of Rock versus Roman. Like I did not want to know. But everyone else is like, yes. Like, and I'm out. Like, and I didn't really speak my mind about it on it too much, just because I'm not really a debater. I don't trash talk. I don't like to argue. So I kind of just like kept quiet. And it's kind of funny. Like everything that was happening, I'm like, this is exactly like everyone else was like my voice kind of thing. But um, social media went off. You know, the whole hashtag "We Want Cody" that was going on. The YouTube video of the whole the Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody, that segment. It was like at one point it was like 100. It was like 100,000 likes to almost a million dislikes. So there's just this whole wave of people are against it. Talent were not happy about it. Um, and you realize like Monday, what was it Monday? Maybe a little bit Monday where they kind of started. Like, yeah, it was on Raw, and they started like the commentators were acknowledging the whole "We Want Cody" thing going on. Um, you could hear the Rocky suck chants. You could hear the "We Want Cody" chants. You could see the "We Want Cody" signs. Um, Drew McIntyre came out and he pretty much spoke in the point of view of the fans and the people of like telling Cody and Seth like, what are you guys talking about? Like Cody, like you got to do this. You got to go like blah blah blah. And like those just you kind of feel like this pivot. And then yesterday was a big. Yesterday was going to be huge of what they were going to be doing with this whole scenario. I guess I'm going to call it. Um,
Say that again. Shitnario.
yeah, it's a
Okay.
shitty scenario.
I, I I gathered as much. Okay, go on.
Because like it just nothing made sense, and they did their yesterday. Watching it, first of all, I'm gonna say I felt so bad for Seth the whole time yesterday. He was out there for no reason. He was out there, but he wanted an answer, so he tried to call out Cody, but then Reigns came out, and Reigns buried. He's been burying Rollins the last 2 weeks, burying him, burying the title, which there's no reason to be doing that because like it was bad enough. People already thought like that was the second championship anyways. And like Rollins has done a decent job of like building that title up, but then like not like the last like week and a half. They just like completely have made that belt almost just definitely a secondary belt. Um but Roman out there, then The Rock comes out and they do this whole uh, like PowerPoint presentation of the Bloodline, which I thought was really cool because the names on there, it wasn't just wrestlers. And that's a big fucking bloodline. It's a big family tree. Um, but they tried to justify like how this is a valid thing, and even then it was just a weird like this is like too neutral. Like, and the Rock says, Rock says that the moment that the moment that Reigns won the title, and the first time that he said that he's the head of the table, that's when the Roman Rock feud started. And I'm like, okay, I can understand that, but it was never acknowledged on TV or anything
There's a lot of puns
about
going on.
anything between Reigns and The Rock, and The Rock feeling like this has been building up for 3 years, like 3-4 years, whatever, and that's why it's a valid reason to have this match now. It's not like that. Like that story. No, like it started. It has not hit a peak or anything. Like there has not been that moment where you feel like you've gotten almost everything out of this story except for this final fight. They have not reached that capacity with this Rock and Roman thing. And then Cody comes out yesterday, no music, which I thought was kind of weird, but it like made it. It kind of gave it a more serious, because Cody was very serious. I mean, he never swears, but he swore a lot yesterday.
Everybody swore a lot
But
yesterday.
yeah, he comes out and he's like, "This is bullshit," and it is. And I then whatever he said, he like Reigns was talking about how Dusty's irrelevant or you're irrelevant. You gave up your chance. You're old news. You're irrelevant, and so is your dad. And then Cody's like, got to stand up for that. And then when he said, if your grandfather was still alive, and if the High Chief, the Rock's grandfather was still alive, they'd be embarrassed or whatever. And
Ashamed of you.
they, the way that they were standing, it was Cody and Reigns. Rock wasn't on the screen, but then he slowly just walks over. That was badass. I have to say, when The Rock like slowly walked over, that was badass. And then you talk about his family. You're talking about my family. You talk about his ancestors. You talk about my ancestors. Now we have a problem. And they slapped him. And that caught me off guard. That was cool. But then they pulled Cody way back away. Rollins, for whatever reason, Rollins was the little ratty friend. Like he was all up in the Rock's face, Roman's face. That was weird because nothing. Like I don't know if Cody took offense to the whole Dusty thing because they had that connection at NXT. But Seth got lot more angry about it. Like that seems like that's the reason that he was out there. Was the end of this whole thing. And now you got them gone. Cody and Rollins are gone. Reigns and The Rock are still on stage. You got the um, the hosts of this press conference thing, whatever. Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, Big E, which was cool to see Big E, and then CM Punk. Now CM Punk starts talking about like what Cody should be doing and like what he would do if if The Rock was doing this to him, and everybody can hear it, including The Rock. I thought that was pretty cool. And because as CM Punk's bashing him, you can see in the background The Rock stops, turns, faces that way. You just know, like, he's just like getting pissed off about what's being said, whatever. Then it goes backstage, and the backstage correspondent, she's talking to Triple H about, getting his feedback of what just happened, blah blah blah. And then in the background, you see Heyman, Reigns, and The Rock walking down the hall, and then they're walking by, and then The Rock says, you better fix this. If you're not going to fix this, then I will. And he's like, keep having them talk shit about my family. And like, The Rock swearing. The Rock, he said shit a couple times, and then he said, they bleeped it out because he did say fuck. I don't know, and I think what it was you're lucky you're fucking retired or something like that to Triple H, and then because all you heard was Triple H say was, yeah, you're lucky about it too, or something like that. So I'm not really sure what The Rock had said, but that's what it sounded like, because it sounded like The Rock was ready to like kick his ass too, and I mean they did a good job of covering up these little bits and pieces to a point where we're probably going to get what we want, but it's not going to be, in the end, it's not going to be how we wanted it, kind of thing. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I think we're going to get Cody and Reigns, but is the outcome going to be what we want that to end up being? Like, because if people want Reigns, Cody to win, and then Cody be the top. I'm not sure that's going to entirely happen. Cody might win, and then the whole bloodline storyline could still be more focused on than Cody. And
I
that's
told
just
you.
like there's just so much. There's so many things that could be happening, like, which is good. Like we were talking about yesterday. I'm like, that's good. Like I'm glad that they left a lot of. They answered some things, but they didn't answer anything at the same time, and they kept us with open options. Again, still options that make sense, and a lot of options that don't make sense that could still happen.
Well, okay. That's yeah. Well, that's that. I understand now. I see where you stand. I mentioned.
Like, yeah, you go ahead.
I mentioned a three-way between The Rock, Cody, and Ramen, and I thought how that would actually work out great for all three parties involved.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and
Mm-hmm. I
and all
still
it,
need them.
it was a surprise. It was a surprise when I said that. I'm like, I felt like that's where they were going, and
And you said that from the beginning too. Like
oh, I
as
said that. Yeah, it was a
like
couple of weeks,
I'm because
whatever.
like you might not have been 100% serious about it. I don't know,
Well, no,
but you did
I
say it,
that
and I laughed it off. I'm like, no way.
well, it's
But
like it was so The Rock came back
mm-hmm.
home, and he as soon as he said, the head of the table, because that was before
right,
Royal Rumble.
right.
So as soon as he said that, man, I just sat there going like, okay, so we know that Cody is gonna finish his story, which is fucking become or is already a cliche, even though it's the story itself. And we knew like what we didn't know that Cody was gonna win Royal Rumble, but if you were to guess who was going to win Royal Rumble, it would have been either Cody or CM Punk. And so I wanted to see Cody fight Ramen again and this time win. And it felt like that's where they were going. And you were saying that way before the Royal Rumble. And then The Rock shows up, and The Rock's like, yeah, mentioning head of the table. And okay, so he's going after Ramen. He's like, is he going after Ramen? So like there was an assumption he's going after him before WrestleMania, and he's going to lose to him and put him over, which would have been great, which would have completely removed this whole. There seems to be like I feel like we're in a twilight zone a little bit. We're not just a twilight zone, but in a zone of unsure whether this is a work, you know? Uh, is it a shoot? Is it both? And some of the best angles are generally, they have a little bit of both, or at least can pretend for it to be a shoot. And right now, there's a lot of things rolling in the sense of like we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know exactly how it's going to go. I felt like The Rock, because you would have The Rock as a face, you would have Cody as the face, and you would have Ramen with the Bloodline as the heel. Now, like people actually started booing The Rock. That whole exchange was weird. Like on SmackDown when The Rock showed
Okay,
up
yeah.
and then he shook hands with Cody. It's like if you had a plan for Rock to face Ramen at WrestleMania, then you had Cody win the Royal Rumble knowing what the story was between Cody and Ramen. Like
That's where the whole
I simply don't understand how they could make that mistake. And the way it was played off during that SmackDown is The Rock came out and he assumed that he would just be able to say that. He'd just be able, or not even say it, do that. Just tell Cody, hey, this is not your turn. Especially considering this whole buildup of Cody giving it his all and Dusty and how that story is unfinished with Ramen who cheated. It just doesn't make any sense. Now that's the kind of the point, which is great, which is what I love about it. I love this whole thing. I am on board. I'm fucking loving it. I'm loving that WWE's realizing that they're bringing over AEW fans, and AEW fans are a different fucking breed, and they're experiencing that with Cody right now. Uh, I'm not sure if they expected this sort of reaction from the fans. Um, but I do feel like the AEW fans are like they speak up for shit they want, you know? Even though sometimes it's like if you get taken in by something, like you get taken in by work and you speak up for it, I mean, whatever, they're enjoying it. I just felt like they were worked in this angle. Still, it didn't make a little some of it didn't make sense after The Rock did that because it's like what were you thinking was going to happen? That Cody's just gonna be like, forget it. I'm just gonna challenge Seth. Like that's not that like nothing points to that at all. It seems like you're really just pushing Cody away, and now it looked like a fucking like a shoot, and they made it look good. They made it look like The Rock just came in, and so there was no other way. Like in my mind, I looked at it and I said, "Listen, I here's what I predict is going to happen at WrestleMania. Up until then, up until the match, we, we just fans in general are going to be tuning in Raw, SmackDown to see what's going to happen. How is this going to play out? Because right now there's a lot of things that we don't know, don't understand, things that don't make sense, and there's just this assumption that Rock just came in, bullied his way in, and is playing politics, uh, which none of those are characteristics of The Rock. And maybe it came off as that they didn't expect this to happen, that
Mhm.
Cody was just gonna step away. That's what it's coming off as. And now The Rock comes in like playing it off as like, hey, you talking about his family, you talking about my family, you talking about his shit, this shit, like the whole thing. And one thing I just kind of like in the back of my head just kept repeating, like, this is not The Rock we know. This is not The Rock we know. Because first of all, he wasn't saying The Rock this, The Rock that. He was in the first person the whole time.
Right.
And
That was Dwayne. That was Dwayne.
that's right. That's right. And to me, that was like, okay, this is not The Rock. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, that's where I felt like they just kind of like they weren't ready for something. But I know what that is. What they weren't ready was for Vince McMahon to fucking all that shit to come out, and for Brock Lesnar to get fucking pulled out. Uh, they weren't ready for that shit, so that shit kind of like caught him off guard. But the way it was set up, like I'm not sure exactly what they thought was how this is gonna go. Like outside of a three-way between Cody, Rock,
That's
and Roman.
because the Rock, like, seriously, I think he seriously felt that him versus Roman would be would get way over more than Cody, going like Cody versus Roman, and that's just not the like
No.
as much as you're getting the back and forth of um we want Cody, because that was
Roger
yesterday during the
sucks.
press conference. You were getting, we want Cody, no, we don't. We want
Oh,
Cody, no, we don't. But then it was going, we want Cody, Rocky sucks. We want like so the crowd is very mixed, but there's still way more Cody than there was Rocky. That's how it was on Raw. Even NXT was getting we want Cody chance. Um, and it just, I seriously think it was a shoot up until it wasn't. Like, and up until like we have to now we have to work. We have to make a
yeah.
change.
Something. Yeah,
Now I
dude,
don't know
either
if you
that or
saw.
they sold it great, brother. Either that or
Well, they
they
did it,
sold it
but
great.
they did it. No, because I don't. Well, I mean, I've heard that up until the Rumble, everything that was supposed to happen was still planned to be happening, and that was known by Cody Rhodes. Like, there was nothing about The Rock that Cody Rhodes knew. He didn't know anything about The Rock. After Rumble, Punk didn't know anything, and like it was just there's just a lot of things that just when it happened, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and that doesn't happen usually if it's yeah. I don't believe that everyone was a part of this. Um,
You see, like it's beautiful the way it's turned out. It's beautiful
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
here's the like the speculation. Everybody's speculating. Everybody's thinking like that. Something wasn't right. And now if they like, so you're planning ahead for WrestleMania. Like you're planning ahead how you want stories to go. You probably have backups just in case people get hurt or have sexual scandals. Anyway, you plan on that, okay? And you can't tell me that if Cody was gonna win the Royal Rumble, unless that changed, unless that was the difference,
Right.
that you are gonna get anyone else to come in and challenge and just tell Cody to step aside. Like that doesn't make sense. Like it was awkward, like you said. It just doesn't make sense. And it's like it's either sold well or I just don't know, brother. Like all I know is that like I mean I'm trying to figure it out. Like what the fuck happened backstage? Like what's
Right.
the difference? What's the change here? But it definitely got us talking. And for me, like why I still think this is very much a work and has been a work where Rock doesn't need to put over Ramen.
No, he wants to.
I mean, he can. Of course he can. And generally, when the older talent comes back, they put the younger talent over. That's just a rule.
Uh,
Now that hasn't happened with Punk because I was in St. Louis when Rock fucking challenged Punk at the Royal Rumble for the I think it was the Royal Rumble, or maybe it might have been Survivor Series, and whichever one, the Raw 1000 episode, uh,
mm,
and uh, I think that was still during the whatever Punk's streak was of keeping the title for however long. But anyway, that's the story that he told Cody before the Rumble. So when he talked to Cody about The Rock, or not The Rock, he said, "This is how it's gonna go, kid." Basically, told him he's like, "You're gonna work hard, and then somebody who hasn't even been in the company, some old class star that's bigger than you is going to come in and is going to swoop in and is going to take it all away." Basically, what he was saying. I'm paraphrasing. And what happened? That happened to him, and here's The Rock coming in. So that's really hard for me to believe that this wasn't anything else other than a pretend screw job on Cody, because the point is to put Cody over, but they're not just putting Cody over, who has proven himself as not just a fucking a face that could be a champion, but he's proven himself that he can work, that he can talk, that he uh I mean whatever push he needs is just a little nudge to put him at a world class at this point, to put him up there with the Stone Colds and the Rocks and all that shit. Like Ramen's getting up there, and Cody is too. But Ramen is such a piece of shit at this point, like so hated that he's done such a tremendous job. And
mm,
what's The Rock gonna do for Ramen? Nothing. Like if Rock wins at WrestleMania, it does nothing for Ramen. If Ramen wins at WrestleMania, it does nothing for Ramen again.
no. That's where I feel like this whole, because to me there's just an obvious shift of
It
a
looked
pivot of,
awkward.
you know, the way that they allowed the crowd chants, because they have the ability to easily shut down crowd noise when it's on TV.
Yeah.
They want us to hear what they want us. They let us hear what they want us to hear. They do. A lot of people do think they were cut off with the initial Rocky sucks chants during the very first promo before Rollins and Cody even started talking. They do feel like production was caught off guard by the Rocky sucks chants, but they let it go. And um, but like I said, like they're embracing what was being talked about outside of TV. What was on social media, like they were talking about. Like they were just acknowledging it, and to me, that was just like a distinct confirmation, I guess, of they're changing. Like something's changing. Now, how much of it is changing, we don't know. Now, I don't know if you caught The Rock on Pat McAfee show
Yes.
yesterday morning. Okay, I
Yeah,
had just
Cody
watched that.
Crybabies.
I had just watched that like an hour before we got on here. And it was probably like the first like 15 minutes. And then after that, it was just they're just talking about stuff that I just really didn't have time to listen to. But The Rock, Dwayne Johnson became The Rock during the Pat McAfee show.
Yes.
He was, he brought up the whole Cody Crybabies. He brought up the
Yeah.
whole, and then he got into that old heel Rock voice of like talking like a little kid, like whatever. He just got it. He like got into that, and then he said, the all those kids on the keyboard, the first 10 tweets, they're shoving a chicken nugget down their mouth, and then the next 20 tweets, they're shoving two chicken McNuggets up their candy asses, whatever. And then he went out and he did this like 10-15 second Rock promo,
Yeah.
and it was just like, okay, something's different. Like this isn't happy joy Rocky. Like this is a heel Rock. He's planting seeds now for what? Like him and and then whatever that happened. I didn't know about that until after the thing last night. The whatever they called it. It wasn't even a press conference because someone had said that they definitely made changes to how like their press conferences are going to work. This was very much a like UFC type of hyping up a big event. Like nobody was sitting down at microphones and press release or like talking to them. It was just very like vocal, physical, and but it just The Rock became like this heel, and you notice though, The Rock walked over and stood next to Reigns. So immediately, that to me, that takes me away from Rock versus Reigns. Immediately, this to me now, this looks like The Rock is with Reigns. Reigns is with The Rock because they're on the same side of this heel face. And like
It's
that,
the awkward
then
part.
now we're just at first. No, because I mean at that point, well, yeah, at first,
Bro, this is
but
Rock
then when The
Hogan
Rock,
shit. WrestleMania 18. This is
and
the same thing is happening to The Rock.
I don't remember that. Like as far as
The people
leading up to
turning, the
that
audience.
match, yeah, I don't, because I wasn't watching it as much then.
Yeah.
I know I watched it, but I wasn't watching it close enough every show to like remember how that match was even getting built or how it even came to be. But it was weird. And then The Rock did what he did and said what he said, and then he slapped Cody. And from that point on, it was just like, I don't even see this as a triple threat because I don't see, now I see Reigns and The Rock are both heels. They're both on the same side of that family. Like now I'm seeing their bloodline versus Cody's.
That's
And
just it. It's not the only bloodline. They made sure they claim it's the biggest,
right,
the most
right.
dominating. But here's what I would love to happen at WrestleMania, and here's what I thought about ever since I even considered that this would be like a three-way match. Is that is Rock and Reigns are basically going to be heels no matter what. Because if Cody's face, like I assumed that Rock's going to be a face too, but that was kind of awkward. Because then Rock is going to be against the Bloodline, but also against Cody, so it would actually be 2-on-1, which didn't make any sense. So in my mind, like I'm sitting there going like, there's no other way about this than The Rock to be a heel. Like there's just no other way. And then it happened, you know, but
Yeah,
it was still awkward.
I
Like
was
we were just trying to.
I wasn't expecting that heel turn to happen. And if I had known that he was on that Pat McAfee show, I probably would have watched that beforehand, and then I would have like felt like that even more. I would have expected it almost. So I'm glad I didn't see that because I was
Yeah,
legitimately like a little bit. I was like surprised a little bit,
I saw
but
that
also like,
before
oh, okay.
the event.
Um,
Yeah, so like I knew it,
that
like, but
said,
it
like,
was just Rocky sucks and like like hashtag Cody
yeah,
whatever the fucking thing.
right.
Well, once that started going on, it's like of course the Rock is gonna turn heel, and I was like, this is just the weirdest way to do it. But I don't know how else it would have happened, man. But
Long term, long term, I think it's gonna make sense how like, now it's like because I know
ah,
Rumble
sorry,
time
go
or
ahead.
whatever, we were like predicting what was going to happen, and I was just like, I was so against The Rock and Roman, and I just that's stupid. Like, and I know it's like, yeah, do it at Elimination Chamber, but it's like you don't want to do that because the time it's 5 a.m. in the U.S. when that's going to be happening. I don't know. That's going to be tough to see how many people. I mean, a lot of people are going to watch, but you don't want that marquee match happen there. And it's like, well, why not SummerSlam, whatever? But
You know, I am. This is to me. This is the coolest thing that could have happened with these
yeah,
three. And is there some AEW involvement with fans, Cody's fans, the Crybabies?
uh,
I was just
oh,
excited as soon as I saw that people were starting to boo The Rock. I was like, yes, yes, because to me,
yeah,
the my favorite Rock was always the heel Rock, and I was surprised at the conference that he played it so straight, first person type of thing. Like it was so important. I just hope that, like, even right now as we talk, it's Friday. I hope Rock shows up on SmackDown with a guitar and just gives up a concert again. I would love to. That Rock would be awesome, and that Rock would make sense at WrestleMania because now you got this fucking there's a lot of heat on this match, man. Even like some of it is go away, go home, Rock heat, but most of it, like
that's
fans still love The Rock. Like if you hear his
right.
music, they still pop and then they go boo,
Oh yeah,
and then they
right,
chant and then they go boo, and they say his catchphrases and then they go boo. So it's
right.
just it's an awesome situation, and Cody deserves it. And I think if Rock came back to put anyone over, it was actually Cody. Whether like it seems like he wasn't, but that would be the only thing that makes sense, especially after the Royal Rumble. And I've been trying to say this. My prediction is that The Rock, the heel Rock, is actually going to make a face turn at WrestleMania. he is gonna redeem himself, and he is gonna stop the Bloodline from interfering and fucking up Cody's thing again. That's what The Rock is gonna do in the main event of WrestleMania. If that goes through, The Rock, I still say it's a three-way because right now it says that it's Ramen and Cody for WrestleMania.
Right.
I am telling you, it's gonna be a three-way. There, unless if Rock just ends up being on the sidelines and Triple H somehow, or even Seth Rollins, which I don't think Seth Rollins would be on the sidelines, but the way he acted seemed like he would be on Cody's side.
Well,
Uh, Triple H would
it
be
almost
the
felt like a potential tag team match at some point,
yeah.
but not at
Forget
Mania
it,
because
man. No.
that's just stupid. But
Yeah.
they could pivot and they could possibly do that chamber with as much heat as it's getting. That could be something that they could main event at the chamber, and it would be okay because you're not getting that Roman versus Rock. You're getting Rock and Roman versus Rollins and Cody, just based off of what happened last night.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
all of a sudden, like, now you have a real main event at Chamber because right now they don't really have a main event for the Chamber except for
yeah,
maybe Rhea Ripley. But that's Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. Like, no.
well, they're, the three-way between, these three at WrestleMania would also be kind of awkward now that I think about it, because then you would have the Bloodline, two of the Bloodline whipping on Cody Rhodes. And, if you want to make it
What?
believable, there's no way The Rock and Ramen would, uh, you know,
So one thing
that's
I
what I'm,
did hear. Oh, God,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off.
No, no, it's just awkward. And that's kind of what, like, they're pivoting something, and it's great. The situation is great. I feel like if Cody went into the battle there, you know, against The Rock and Ramen, that would be like he has no odds. I mean, like, how much further can you milk this motherfucking thing of Cody and his odds
Yeah, you
and his
can.
family? I mean,
Yeah.
it's getting to like, it's like having sex, and like it's like tantric sex at this point. It's
It's just blue
everything but the
balls.
coming. Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
and
Right.
so the I mean, there's only so many ways, so many times you can swerve people at fucking WrestleMania, and I think that people are going for a feel good story this time around because they surprised us last year. And I just feel like that there's no other way. Because if you just have Rock on the sidelines and Triple H on the sidelines, okay, but we all know Triple H is a
Well,
fucking defibrillator. Like, give me a break. Like, that's just
right.
that
Well,
time
yeah.
is
I mean,
past,
you're not gonna.
un, unless you get unless you get the rattlesnake.
No.
But then Rock is not
No.
gonna get his chance to redeem himself, which is what I feel this whole thing is gonna be about. Is The Rock is gonna actually fucking finally slap the bloodline. He's just gonna do it in a different way versus just like a straight up match against Ramen. But I don't know, bro. This is
So,
a cool situation to be in. Very interesting, very fun.
so one thing that I did hear today, of course, people are like, they're just trying to, they're just throwing out possibilities. And the one that was mentioned, I'm, I would, I was, I, okay, admit that would make sense. So if they if they do what people say things, and so okay, so Cody says, he he kind of already said not at. He told Roman Reigns that you blah blah blah, but not at Mania. So he kind of already like took away his right as a Royal Rumble winner to challenge Reigns. But then he comes out last night and he's like, "No, it's not your choice. It's my choice. I won the Royal Rumble." So now it's kind of like, okay, well, what happened? Like, you give it away, but now you're taking it back. Now, Paul Heyman could be like, hey, because Paul Heyman is very uh,
He's an advocate, which is
legal,
another
like,
word for a lawyer.
right, right. And he'd be like, no, you gave up your right. So essentially what happens, Cody puts up his Royal Rumble winning right
Against The
against
Rock.
The Rock on night one. And he beats The Rock to go on to fight Reigns at night two, wins the title. That doesn't that's whatever. It
That
happened.
sounds worked out. Um,
Reigns and Roman, they could still you know
Reigns and Roman.
eventually Rock and Roman can still there's still room there for them to do with each other. But Rock is a heel. This is when you slow move Reigns into being slowly turning into a face because The Rock is going to be so over as a heel that they're going to have to root for somebody, and I think that The Rock that he could have more heat and continue being a heel. And we could possibly see because there are rumors of more people of the bloodline of their bloodline coming over to the WWE due to their contracts run up elsewhere, whatever. There's Jacob Fatu, who was in MLW. He's now working at Booker T's promotion. Booker T's his manager at that promotion. And he's going to do whatever it takes to bring him into WWE. That would be a really cool addition. So, like, if The Rock were to have his own bloodline members, and you still have Roman, Solo, and Jay, and then you have like a 3-on-3 bloodline versus bloodline
A
story,
civil war.
which ultimately comes to a conclusion next year's WrestleMania, Rock versus Roman, head of the
I
table.
don't.
That's
Is
it.
Raw gonna be around that long?
Well, that's the thing. That's another hard thing is his availability. He knows that he's available and he's ready. And that's the thing is that it's pretty much a done conclusion that The Rock is going to have a match at this year's WrestleMania. He's going to be there no matter what, but he's match ready. He's going to have a match in some sort of way. It's just how or what is it going to be? Now, I think, I mean, they got, why can't, I don't know, just have him just keep doing animated movies for the time being. Just do voiceovers for the time being. And build up to next build up to this Roman and Reign or Rock and Reigns. Build up to that the right way, and that is by building up to that climax of a story where you can't take much more besides one final fight, and that's how it should be. This is way too. It's been a known thing of it's going to happen at some point, but there still hasn't been an actual build up of anything. It's just been all hypothetical now
Yes.
that The Rock is there, and yeah, you see him face to face. That's just the one little itty bitty part of the thing. Like, there could be so much more to that, and it could be built up even more.
Absolutely, man. This
You
is
know,
even though if it's awkward, it seems like a great situation. And as
right,
such, Bloodline delivers again in a way where we thought it was starting to get stale. So,
right,
yeah, I really think it's the coolest fucking thing, man. What's happening here. I don't think either you or I condone any of the death threats, and I think that whoever's done that
oh
for
no,
Rock's
no,
daughter, whoever the
yeah,
fuck is doing it, these people are, I mean, a lot of that is just pure just talking and
that's
stupidity
your
because you're behind a keyboard, all that shit, or whatever, you're anonymous, but
that's that's your
that's
Cody
fucking
crybabies
stupid.
right there. That's your
That's Cody's
AEW
bitches, man.
marks.
That's
Like,
like whoever said that, whoever's doing that is a fucking tool. Not just a tool,
yeah,
but a fucking idiot. And
yeah.
and I really sincerely don't think most of them mean it, but some of them, you get some nutties in there,
Oh
some
yeah,
nut
yeah, you
jobs,
never know.
but that's
You
ridiculous,
never
and we
know.
condone that. I think this is fucking exciting. We're already over an hour just talking about this. I think it's exciting, man. It's a little weird. It's a little kind of like, okay, here we go. There's some adapting going on. That much we can feel. This wasn't quite planned the way it is, but hey, here we go, and I'm really looking forward to seeing The Rock bring that guitar out, and I'm really not looking forward to seeing The Rock play this just hard-nosed, all family, serious actor rock because
Right, right. Well,
that would totally
that's where
kill
it's
it
like
for me.
you got I don't know. There's just this whole, and it's just like the whole aspect of like I mentioned to you last night about like the CEO of Triple H. Like you're getting like you bring in their political whatever, like in the business of the company. You got these two guys, and it's just I don't know. Those are like I like that aspect of it as far as like I love that interaction between The Rock and Triple H last night. That was really cool because that also kind of gave you a sense that Triple H is going to be more involved on screen too. Like he's going to have a character, his character, but it's going to be Paul Levesque because they've been using his name a lot more, his real name a lot more recently. So like that could be where like Paul Levesque is going to be on TV a little bit more as this authority figure. I don't know, but yeah, they just left a lot of things open. The whole Rollins getting involved with that scrap, that really makes me feel like that whole tag team thing could happen and really boost up Elimination Chamber instead of having where I was like, oh, that'd be perfect for yeah, have Rock and Roman at the Chamber, but no, that doesn't make sense because that's too big for the Chamber. But you could have the Rock and Roman versus Seth and Cody. Have Cody take most of the brunt of the damage, and Roman can do most of the working as well. So you're not letting the Rock, you know, blow his gasket too soon, and you're not letting Seth endanger himself even more. But you're still having them involved in building the story. And
Yeah,
then
man.
I do like the a lot of people were saying about Reigns working both nights. You know, have Reigns versus The Rock or Reigns versus Cody night one or whatever, and Reigns versus Rock the other night, vice versa, whatever. But Have Cody be the workhorse. Have him carry over that workhorse. You know, you think this is the workhorse title. This is also a workhorse title, and I'm going to win this night to get to this night. And it's just like Daniel Bryan back in WrestleMania. I don't even know what 30 was it. I don't know
Well, you
where he
certainly seem
beat.
to have, yeah, Triple H.
Yeah,
Yeah, you certainly seem to have that a sentiment as far as the audience feels, you know?
right.
They're telling
Right.
you what they want, and they're not gonna settle for anything else. A bunch of fucking crybabies who don't understand how real life works. Fucking jabronis.
But at the same time, you got The Rock pretty much saying, "Well, screw
Yes.
you. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, whether
Well,
you like
since
it or not."
Rock's baby left him, he found a place to dwell. He's gonna shit in your
Oh,
backyard and he's gonna take you to hell. La 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 la. That's the rock I'm expecting, my friend. But we
oh,
gotta jump off because
you
I gotta
want Cody?
go pick up pages and then we can get right back on. Get it? Right
You
back?
want Cody versus Reign?
Cody Reigns.
It doesn't
Cody
matter what you
Reigns.
want.
It doesn't. I'm so used to
That's what
it.
he should have done that too. He
If
really
you've
should.
been in a
No,
well, that's what I'm saying. That's the rock I want. I want some
yeah,
slapping.
yeah,
I want some ass kicking.
yeah,
But
yeah.
as far as this is concerned, I am, dude.
Right.
I'm like, I'm all in for this. This is exciting to me. I'm excited to possibly see the rock I've always loved, actually. And it sounds to me like you are getting around to it, and that it's still
As
interesting.
long as it's done in the right way, yes,
Well, of
yes.
course, you know, that's all we can ask for. Because when they fuck it up, we're sure gonna let them know. Uh, well, this has been the Jobbers, man. It's been Mr. Big D, and I'm MJ, and not the 23 MJ. I'm the 420 MJ. And this has been the Jobbers, and we're gonna catch you right back in about 10, 15 minutes.